Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message that follows is vital to the future of you all.
Well, that indeed is true. That indeed is true. It's always vital to the future of all. But the vital thing that's the thing that's vital to the future of you all is to know that I really need to upload to StreamYard the intro to Video Vault. Hello, everybody. If indeed anybody is there, so we normally record this on Wednesday night. This is normal for us. So, yeah, we normally do this on Wednesday nights, but then we don't show you. We keep it quiet. We keep this under our hat, and then I post it on Friday. So instead, I think we're just going to do it as live, baby. Do it live. And that's what we're doing right now. And then on Friday, I think we're going to be posting Geek Lord Overmind, which hopefully we're recording tomorrow. And then Saturday, I think we'll post the Comic Book Improv, which I have just renamed to be the big comic book pitch, big one. But this is the Video Vault. How are you? So, if you're new to the Video Vault, what happens is each week we enter the vault. I enter the vault. It's a vault of my most treasured movies, and I watch it with a panel of compadres who then often savage it, often tell me they hate it in every way, shape, or form, and then I feel bad, and then I feel guilty. So then I try and find movies that everybody would like. So I think we might have done it this week. It's a movie that's very hard not to. But before we do anything, hit the subscribe button, baby. Everybody just hit that subscribe button. Unless you're a subscriber, that'd be bad. If you're a subscriber, hit it twice. If you're a subscriber, of course, you can enter my ongoing weekly competitions. The prize this week is Power of the Daleks. This is the first animated version, not the second animated version. Why they felt I need to animate it again, I don't really know. But I will, when I finish watching Fear of the Deep, I'll watch it and I'll let you know. All you need to do to win it is subscribe to the channel. Then in the comments, leave the hashtag I am your servant. I am your servant. So who is not my servant? These are the people I'm about to introduce are not my servants. These are my treasured guests. I think the first one to introduce is the one who just popped in as we're starting. He's the person. Is he an enigma? Is he a man? Is he a myth? Is he a legend? I think he's all those things. I think he's more of a zone where things interconnect, intercede, and come together. It is called Noel from the Tardis zone. Noel, how are you?
Well, I'm good. Am I the only one that's here with you? Is that why you've introduced me first?
No, everybody's here. You came in, and I said, let's just start, and Noel show up whenever he turns up, and we started. And as the music was playing, you popped in, and I want to say hello.
Sorry, I was just dealing with a little pissant on.
Oh, I saw. Man.
Yeah. I've just kind of shut the whole conversation down.
Yeah, enough already.
But they just wrote up a tweet to say that my source has been talking crap. So go and check out what I put up on Twitter. Shut them up. And when you get one of them, Joe, then you come back to me and tell me my source is crap, you idiot. Shut your bleeding mouth, you fool.
Okay. Well, I think these are words that one would not question. No, we're not. But back to the podcast at hand. Back to what I was going to
Yeah.
We're in the video vault. We're talking about different movies. Movie we're talking about this week is, of course, The Italian Job. I'm going to give it my quick introduction when we're there. Also with us in the video vault is the person directly next to you. Is he a person? Is he a being? Is he a state of being? He could be all of those things. But most likely you'll find him on a movie set. Collecting memories that he will drop in whenever appropriate, because it often is appropriate. Problem being, how are you, sir?
I am good. How are you?
I am glad you're good.
Right on, Noel, with you, brother.
Don't worry. After this stream, I'll be going live, so come and see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, knuckle up, buckaroos. It's going down.
No, it is going down. It is, because I'm sick of certain people out there taking swipes at the fandom when they absolutely have no evidence to back them up, and they're actually using a dodgy account which has been actually taken down since, right,
ridiculous.
As evidence that Doctor Who Series 13 is filming, when all night I was checking local notice boards. I checked the AI. They have a local road map that's live 24 hours. I checked that. Nothing
I didn't need to mention it. Here, 1 second. Do you want to see my commentary on the thing for you?
Yeah,
It's up to date. There you go.
Did Doctor Who start 13? Did Doctor Who season 13 start filming? But possibly, but I doubt it. And here's why.
And Jody is saying in a stunning and brave way, "Are you ready for some more thrilling lectures across space and time?"
Yeah. Listen, I know you don't want to get into it on this stream, but all I'll say is that logic has gone out the window with certain people in the fandom, and I think they need to step back, take a few deep breaths, and wait until BBC announce it. Some accounts on Twitter that take an iPad for a walk. I never heard anybody taking an iPad for a walk and not providing any evidence, and you are all picking up on this. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. There's a pandemic right now. Fans could be encouraged to go to Wales. That's the bigger picture here. That's why I'm so against this information from going out until BBC actually announce it. It is so untrue. It's unbelievable. There's so many holes in that account. It's unbelievable that people have swallowed it. Where's our common sense and logic? Has it gone out the window?
This is a massive case of confirmation bias, and
again. Listen. I don't. I know I do want to steer the show back to the show, but I don't really think it's anything's worth talking about. Look, the guy. I know the guy. We all know the guy. We all get on with the guy. He seems to be wigging out. I don't understand why. Listen, people often wig out about things for reasons.
It's so childish now.
Well, I've had enough of him. I'm just being out straight. He knows this because I've told him. So I'll just let the rest of you know. I've unfollowed him. I'm not going to follow anybody like that. If you can't take your advice, mate, that you gave me last year, then you can go and piss off as far as I'm concerned. How dare you? How dare you go around, call people liars? Nobody ever said that you are lying, by the way. You're trying so hard to validate yourself. It's actually laughable at this stage. And the fact that you came across an account that just happened to back you up, go and kiss me arse. Everybody could see what's happening.
A day after.
I do have to tell you, I do kind of hope tomorrow at the New York Comic Con panel, they just for his sake, they announced that Jodie Whittaker is staying till 2030. Just for his sake, because otherwise his head's going to explode. But that's not the case. We'll have to wait and see. You know who we're going to wait and see with? Who else are we going to bring into the Thunderdome? You know what? Sometimes you need a man. You need a man of a higher level of strength and discernment, a higher level. Somebody that we can look up to. Somebody who I would say is nearly regal. Somebody that actually genuinely has royalty flowing through them. And thankfully, we have somebody just like that here today. We have Birmingham's very own King of the Dan Hadley. How are you?
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and wherever. I've totally lost.
Hello,
yes,
your kingdom. How are you?
Well, fabulous. I've just got one word of advice for all of you. Just remember this. In this country, they drive on the wrong side of the road.
In this country, yeah.
Words to live by.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're only supposed to blow them. There's just like the right off the line in it.
I resisted the impression, everybody, but I can't promise it's not going to come out by the end of the show.
It's all going to come out. Every impression is going to come out. Though, whose impression I'm really looking forward to hearing. A man who you probably isn't used to doing Michael Caine impressions, but I think he won't be able to stop himself. He's a man. He's I will say a evangelical man. A man who you have the smell of holiness around him. It is a course. My fellow man of the cloth, Father Christopher Miller. How are you, sir? What is
you are looking at the new member of the Self-Preservation Society. Doing good.
There's a lot we're going to be talking about, and it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, and we need one more person. Perhaps, I think probably the person who knows this movie the best out of the panel. We all know it very well, but we need somebody who's a bit of a geek, about film, about movies. I think he's a geek about this movie. I think he's not just a geek. I think he's an uber geek. Now I'm going to say more than an uber geek. I would say he's a mega geek. Mega geek, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you guys doing? All right? I must say, I love this film. This film's amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody love this movie. If you don't love this movie, there is something
congenitally wrong with you.
Well, the Americans didn't like this film at all, did they? The Americans.
I like this film.
Amazing.
I'm an American.
No. When it got released, it really did really badly in America.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So look, they like the Anglophile now. Fine. So look, let me just give a little brief introduction to this movie. This movie is just fan-freaking-tastic. It is essentially Michael Caine, I think, really at his best, as his cheeky, lovable, Michael Caine best. He's just come off playing a spy, and in this he plays essentially a criminal James Bond with a sense of humor. I can't believe this character didn't continue for the next 50 years like Bond did, and we aren't still getting not Harry Palmer or Croker movies, because he's such a wonderful freaking character. And the moment he appears on screen, that first moment, you get a good big close up of him after you have this pre-title sequence. Or that title sequence, essentially. Big close-up of him. That little cheeky little smile, and you kind of love him. You kind of love him from the first thing, and that cheeky little smile is the heart of the movie going all the way through it. It's absolutely lovely. It's a cape movie, and something I really noticed that there's something that there is no equivalent to in the dour puritanistic landscape of 2020. We have nothing this fun. Everything is dour. Everything is grey. Compared to this, I was just trying to think. The one thing about this movie, which I think is so is colourful and explainable life, is its love of Britishness. It loves being British. I mean, we have the red, white, and blue mini metros. How much more British can you get? And that's something I just don't think is common anymore. It's a bit sad that that it's not common anymore. And it was only very recently that we love being British. It was the Olympics. It was the Queen's. What was it, Jubilee, when she was jumping out of helicopters with James Bond, and everything was fantastic. How in such a small space of time has our love of our kind of bonkers little country? And I would even I think being British is a state of mind rather than a state of parcel. So Father Miller, I think you're a bit of an honourable Brit. I will throw in there as well.
Well, I'm about 60% Irish, so I get sure
there
this
you
English
go.
in me.
That certainly does it, and it's it's a wonderful caper movie. Let's just go through the panel and get everybody's idea of how they would describe this movie in 2 or 3 sentences. Let's start off with Noel, who's at the top of the panel there.
Well, firstly, I want one of those minis. Second of all, Ireland and Britain are 2 different countries. Please stop.
I know.
I
know. Trust me.
Right, we're proud of our country. Don't be roping us in with the Brits.
It's too bad that Henry VIII couldn't have had a son.
Anyway.
Otherwise, you guys are Catholic.
I love this movie, but I have to be honest. The only reason why I love this movie was for the Mini Cooper, because I wanted one as a kid. And even growing up as an adult, and still to this day, if I was to drive again, I'd love to get my hands on one of those little babies. I agree with everything you said in your opening statement about this movie. It is very, it celebrates Britishness in a different country. And I think, it's the same. I think everybody gets that feeling, isn't it? When you're away on a holiday or something as simple as that, all of a sudden you do feel really patriotic and stuff, don't you? Even if you're not inclined, when you're in a different country, like I'm Irish, you're proud to be Irish, and you start getting all paid. That's the way the Irish are, because we're not patriotic at all, right? So this celebrates the best of Britain. You've got the Mini Cooper, which was probably at the time one of the biggest selling cars. You've got probably one of the greatest one of the best British talents there, and Michael Caine. This movie, yeah, I love it. The car scene at the end, which we haven't got to, is just pure magic. There's no dialogue, not much dialogue at all.
Although you know what's incredible now? It only goes for about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah,
and it's like it's this kind of small part of the movie, but when you get there, it's. I mean, listen, I just think this movie is fantastically directed. There's not an ounce of fat on it. Really, it just it zips along beautifully, and it builds and it does everything it's supposed to do, and it does it so freaking well. Yeah. I was just thinking. I guess the gentleman was trying to do something like this, and it failed so miserably in comparison, which is it's a real shame because I can see Guy Ritchie he should just do a remake of this. That'd be fun.
I actually didn't mind the updated version of the Italian Job. It doesn't have a patch on this. It doesn't have a patch on this, and never will have a patch on it. But there is some clever scenes in that actual movie. It just doesn't get the recognition because obviously you have this great movie instead. You know what I mean? But for a reboot, or if that's what you want to call it, a remake, it wasn't that bad compared to most remakes out there. It was a time when they weren't doing many remakes, so remakes wasn't a thing. This was just starting to come in. But I love both movies, but I do prefer this one. Obviously, I prefer the original over the updated one, but I'm not going to slate the updated one because I actually like the updated one. So
let me say hello to people in the chat. I forgot we're live. Derek Mamanos, how you doing? A Hobbit, how are you? Derek Mamanos, I see lots of you there. Was it Kel Lynch, how you doing? And who else? Is anybody else new in the chat? Chris Persia. Oh, Chris, we have a question for you, Chris. Canada's favorite wrench. We are thinking, me and Problem Being are thinking of doing a dramatic reading from the New Time Lord Victorious book. Doing putting out a chapter, a chapter at a time. Do you think we're going to get copyright zapped for that or not? Let us know in the chat. I am curious.
Well, here, what do you call it? Mr. Hyde's podcast has been doing script readings of Classic Who, and I don't think he's been.
I think we're probably fine, but that's about.
You're just reading the script. You're not going to be adding sound.
No, we're going to be reading the book.
Right. Well, then I don't think that's all the book. I don't know. If it's a book, you might have to actually ring. You might actually have to get in touch with the publisher because there could be some sort of issue there.
I think we're just going to do it and hope for the best.
But here's the thing, Rabbi, if you do it and hope for the best and you get a copyright strike, your channel's down for 2 weeks.
Ooh, I could use a vacation, though. I have to tell you, I could use a vacation.
If you're willing to take that risk, go for it, but I wouldn't.
I think probably okay.
Disclaimer all over it.
Guys, James Bond Radio are at the moment, they're reading out in the same way the novelisation of Moonraker, of the movie Moonraker, not Ian Fleming's Moonraker, the actual movie thing. So they're doing that over on their YouTube channel, and they've managed to get all the way through the book, and nobody's struck them down yet. So, but obviously that's not a new book. That's a 40-year-old book.
right. But yeah, I guess we're done doing a chapter at a time. Anyway, fine. Listen, fine. Vanessa Law, how are you? Sorry, I missed you in the chat. I was going to say, Problem Being, what's your overview of this movie?
Oh, come on! This is a great film. It's quintessential. Not only a quintessential 60s heist movie, but a quintessential British movie. It shows British exceptionalism. It's comedic. It's everything fundamental. This is like Britain wrapped up in a.
It really is. It's just like the big fizzy kind. Although it is interesting that that iconic song, Self-Preservation Society, is Quincy Jones. It's his take on Britishness, and he nails it.
He absolutely does.
It's like a little song you can whistle to yourself. Yeah, okay, basically it. Okay,
it's hella catchy.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, no, it's great fun from start to finish, and it's perfectly cheeky, and chirpy, and chappy, and all the rest of it. And it's got great performances throughout. I love Noel Coward in this.
Oh, Noel Coward, perfect casting.
Oh, it's amazing. Yes.
Fine, Dan. What's your thoughts?
An absolute stone cold delight from start to finish. Absolutely loved every minute of this. Haven't seen it in the best part of 30 years.
Wow.
All I could remember were the things that I've seen spoofed and the things that everybody talks about all the time. I'd forgotten what some of the most iconic lines. I've forgotten context in which they were spoken in the film. I've seen that many impressions over the last 2 or 3 decades. I just thought it was great. I mean, the opening thing I'd like to say about it is compared to virtually every film that I've seen this year, whether it's on the video vault or away from the video vault, the pacing of this film is absolutely impeccable.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it? It is absolutely. It builds up steam, and it starts at a nice pace, and it builds that steam slowly, so you don't really know. It's basically like a roller coaster, and you don't notice when you're carrying. And all of a sudden, you're in these tunnels with with your mini metros, and it's the best time you've ever had.
It absolutely qualifies as a cult film as well, despite being one of the biggest cult films of all time. Because attitudes towards it, I think I understand that even now are quite hit and miss because it's very idiosyncratic. It's very subtle in some respects, but very broad in others. I mean, when you think about the script is quite economical, really.
It really
is. You don't sit down with any of these characters and really get inside them psychologically. The lines are very, very lean, but they haven't got the time to talk about their childhood. There's a task at hand. And yet the characters seem so well studied and very real. This guy's a prime. This guy's a prime example. Tony Beckley there from the Seeds of Doom, brilliant in this as Camp Freddy.
I love Camp Freddy.
I mean, all of it. I mean, the girl, everybody. I mean, the fact that I can only remember some of them as the girl or the bloke who did this or the person who did that. It's kind of by the by. Because it's seat of your pants. It's very. I'm not going to use the I word, but you're right about Britishness, and I don't think it's necessarily an idealized version of what it is to be British.
And you see the driver there. You see the driver there in the blue by the blue Mini.
Yeah.
Whoa. And Robert Powell.
Robert Powell was surprised to see Robert Powell in this. I couldn't remember him being in it at all. A couple of years before he hit big in Doom Watch.
The Lord.
And I mean, I like the fact that there was a prominent member of the cast who was black. Nobody said a word about it.
No.
Were you about to drop an F-bomb and you pulled back?
I nearly did. Thanks, Noel. And the cars are absolutely gorgeous. As I said before, I really, really miss my Mini Cooper, even if it was never as cool a colour as this.
You had a Mini Cooper?
Hard to get one.
I did.
Tell me something. I want to ask Dan a question about the Mini Cooper.
Yes.
I'm serious now. I'm not taking the shit because I've had a fascination with this car, and there's only a few of them left. They're collector's items now, as you know.
So,
BMW have obviously taken out, and it's not the same car. But what were they like to drive? Were they handy?
They were nippy, and you could squeeze them. You could squeeze them into any parking space. I mean, everything that you see in the film is obviously absolutely true. I can't be the only person here who's driven a Mini, can I?
Well, I can drive, so there you go. So I've never driven.
Okay. Yeah, so they are like baked bean tins on wheels. And you feel every single bump. You're very sort of close to the curb, but they're fast. And
drive.
The thing about Minis, about the original Minis, particularly the Mini Cooper, because I had a Clubman and then a Mini Cooper. The proper ones as well, not today's Minis, not the sort of huge Minis. They're Maxes. I had one of these, and yes, they stuck to the road. For all that I said about the bike, but the sides, the doors, you could hear them rattle and everything. But the tires and everything, as you drove them, you always felt secure, and they were fast. I mean, I think Mark Bolan killed himself with one of these, didn't he? But
the Spitfire of the world. Yeah,
kind of. I mean, you got the spotlights on the front as well, like I had on mine. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, the drawback was, if the battery ever went, and the batteries to these cars were in the boot, okay? So I had to go in through the boot, open it up, And to get it going again, I used to have to carry a hammer where I'd have to hit the points on the battery to get it to fizz back into life so it could get going again. Because even with a fully charged battery, the thing didn't go. So that was always fun. But I still do miss it desperately.
Oh.
I understand. Father Miller, what's your overview of this movie?
You know, I've always loved this film. I saw it, I think, the first time when I was a kid, and as I was mentioning before we went live, this was one of the first DVDs I bought when they just became available. So I guess, I mean, I'm Irish, but I'm still an Anglophile at heart.
Yeah, I love you, Father. Don't worry, I'll forgive you.
Well, no, I did the Ancestry DNA
mistake. I can forgive you for that, you know. I mean,
well, the Ancestry DNA says it's some that comes from England. I don't know what part. It must be way back, but
well,
no,
we were invaded by England, so
yeah, listen, Ireland is part of the British Isles.
Unusual if there wasn't any English Irish.
That's since 1916.
It's part of the British Isles.
That's since 1916.
Yeah. Well,
or is it 21? 21 was it? That getting off topic. Sorry.
Okay. Maggie, why do you love this movie?
Because it's a really fun, enjoyable, non-violent movie. The only things that get killed is the cars. That's the only things that nobody gets shot, and there's no swear.
It's so sad.
There's no swear words in it at all. And a couple of facts that you guys probably don't know, because I know this film very, very well, is that song "Preservation Society" was sung by Michael Caine and the cast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you believe? And after watching it again, I realized there's some jokes that I missed. Like, for instance, when he's talking to Camp Freddy,
Camp
Freddy dressed in pink. The bit where he's talking,
I had to get a picture of the big pink outfit.
Exactly. There you go. So the bit where he's talking to Michael Caine saying, I've got a job. And he's saying, you know, you can't spell big. Have you not noticed the three girls in the background? But they're all wearing glasses and they're copying down everything he's saying.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. I didn't notice it the first time I was watching it, but when I was watching it, I was like, what are those girls doing? And they were
writing everything
that he was saying. It was so funny.
I could go and watch it again.
Freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, and also another thing
at the end of the meeting where he hangs up and he goes, "Okay, dodgy toning from Croydon." What's going on?
Also, another thing you probably don't know is that Fiat was all over this film, and the company that made the Mini Coopers didn't give a shit. So Fiat was saying, "Why don't you use our cars to you know, for the goal bit and stuff like that?" But obviously they refused because they wanted it very British. So that's the reason why they had the red, white, and blue car, because it was kind of like Italy versus England.
Yeah.
And another thing is that they didn't shoot it in Rome; they shot it in Turin. Because Rome wouldn't let them shoot, but when they went to Turin just said, "Yeah, you can use anything you want. You can do it for free."
There's an extra special thank you at the end of the movie for
Turin.
I noticed that when it should say.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's a terrific movie, and I said I saw it. I think it was 7 years ago at the BFI. They had a pristine print,
Was
and
that first
it was fantastic.
Was that the first time you saw it?
No. I never saw it in the cinema, obviously, but I saw it on BBC One when BBC One showed it for the first time, I think. You know, I got the DVD, and I don't think it's on Blu-ray. I haven't got it on Blu-ray.
It's on Blu-ray.
I haven't got it on Blu-ray.
Imagine seeing this in 4K.
But listen,
it is a beautiful print. The Blu-ray is fantastic.
It's a great movie, and I know the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I know how they made this film. It's a miracle that this film was made, because the amount of problems they had trying to shoot this film. Like, for instance, you know when Noel Coward's coming down the stairs and they're all clapping and stuff like that. All those people were Irish, because they shot in a I think the jail was in Ireland, so they shot in Ireland. Obviously, when he comes out, it's England, but when he's coming down the stairs, they're all Irish and they sing in England. Do you know what I mean?
I wonder if they have something to say about that.
Isn't that incredible? Don't you think that's incredible that they were just singing that? And plus, another fact before I sign off is, you know, when he gets into the car and his girlfriend appears, And what was it? What was the car? The Pakistani car. That was the real Pakistani car, the real one. Put it in the script. So there you go. But anyway, I digress.
Okay, fine. So let's just talk about getting to the plot a little bit. Okay, so it starts off with Michael Caine. It says he's getting out. Well, first it starts off with the sequence of a man driving down these beautiful Italian roads in the countryside until he goes into a tunnel, and then he blows up because he's been assassinated by the mafia, who then in a very stagey way then pushes car down and throw a wreath, and then that's your titles over.
It's not the same car.
What?
It's not the same car that they chuck over the bridge.
Well, it looked like an expensive car.
No, it's not. It's a different. They couldn't obviously destroy that car because it's new. It was at the time it came out. It was new, so they got something that looked exactly like it. So if you look at it very carefully, it's a different car that goes down the hill. So that's why you never see it crash. You see the tunnel.
I have to say,
explosion.
This film is a heartbreaker for watching gorgeous cars being trashed. Oh my god, it's hard. It's wrenching.
Fortunately, I have no emotional attachment to any cars. Again, don't know how to drive. But what I did have emotional attachment with, he gets out of prison. He says goodbye to Noel. They gets out of prison to the greatest girlfriend of all time. Come on, what's it? The actress like stunningly beautiful, and then she has this getting out of jail present after he takes her to the tailor, gets them all sorted out with like nice clothes, and you really get a feeling of like who this guy. Like, what the hell? Like, okay, so then he gets this getting out of jail party, and I guess he sleeps with how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well, he sleeps with eight women, and he's a little bit tired, but not that tired. Because then he meets the widow of the guy who had the plan and sleeps with her as well. I mean, look, honestly, I needed a stiff cup of tea at that point. Just I felt tired for him. And the plan is this perfect job to steal $4 million and get away through the biggest traffic jam of all time. Which seems like an audacious plot. So before we get that takes us that's the first 20 minutes of the movie, which is basically the first quarter of the movie. Does anything they would like to add about everything up to this part?
Yeah, can we move the slide?
We all know why you picked this movie, because you just have to look at this image. That's why you.
I forgot about this.
Rabbi, for modesty, can you change the slide for father, please?
Thank you.
I'm terribly sorry.
Well, that's
I'm glad you're here.
Almost good.
Wow. I love this bit where he gets beaten up, because they literally go into a room so you can see his shadow getting beaten up. Because as I said, this film had no violence. This film shied away from violence, and it was deliberate, because I remember Michael Caine was saying, when I went to the BFI, he was on stage, he was saying at that moment in time, there were loads of violent films that came out in the 60s at that moment in time, and they deliberately went out the way to have no one get beaten up, apart from the bit where they beat the guys with the sticks. No one had a gun in this film at all. So,
by the way, Maggie, your volume's a bit low.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, the one thing I noticed during this scene, I don't know if anybody else did, but it seems they're playing "Oh Holy Night" in like a slow motion piano chime.
I missed that. I totally missed that. That's so funny. That is so funny. There's a lot of very, very funny bits of the movie. What's it? Michael Caine breaks into prison.
Oh dear!
I love
That's so funny.
You'll have to start trying picking more less naked women movies.
I don't have that many to choose from.
They cast that woman as his girlfriend because they wanted the Americans to be attracted to the film. So she was, I guess, she was the only American that was in the film, I think. And it didn't go down well in America because it was very, very British. But in Europe, it made a crap load of money. So that's the history of what happened after the film. So yeah, it's a cool movie.
Yes.
It is a good movie. It is a great movie.
It's a very cool movie. I mean, again, you know what? I kind of like what's the word? Related to Michael Caine, like when he had the idea to break into jail. It's exactly the look on my face when I think I have a good idea, which is a very bad one. I was like, yeah, I do that. I do that a lot. Actually,
There's a man in my toilet.
And then he goes to complain to the governor.
That's so
It was in his pocket. It's totally in his pocket. Yeah, it's great. And he's the guy from Dad's Army. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's.
That line in the film deliberately when he says, "I'll go to the Americans." They know talent, you know, that bit where he's sitting in the toilet. That was basically to have a go at the British people because British people wouldn't be support. They tried to get a lot of people to support this film, but the British kind of ignored them. So they went to Paramount instead. So Paramount financed it. So that was basically them having a go. Yeah.
There's a lot of really good humor in this. But again, I think wasn't it mainly made by Quincy Jones's influence? Like,
Quincy Jones did the music, but he it was really weird because they said, you know, why are you getting Quincy Jones as a guy who's a jazz, you know, and he's American, he wouldn't understand the British thing. And Michael Caine had to tell him all the Cockney rhyming slang and stuff like that.
You can really see him do that as well. Yeah. I wish we had a camera on that. That would have been
flying the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Noel Cowell though. He's so funny in this film.
No, perfect casting. Really perfect casting.
And he always does that when he wants somebody to sit, or he does the old hand movement, which I just find hilarious personally.
He was Noel Cowell was wonderful in this, and I don't think I've ever really seen him act before or since. I've seen him speak. I've heard his songs, but I've never seen him act, and he was incredible as a fascinating character. I mean, Rabbi, you were talking about further films about Croker. I'd love to see a prequel or sequel just about Bridger
there was a sequel.
and his setup. There was supposed to be. I don't know.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a sequel. Basically, what happened was that the Italians was at the bottom of the hill waiting for the gull to slip out so they can get the gull at the bottom. And so Charlie decides to empty the petrol in the coach, so it will tip the other way. And then the sequel was them chasing after the Italians to get the goal back, but it didn't get made because obviously it didn't do well in America. So there was a sequel plan.
It was robbed.
The other name on the credits to this was Troy Kennedy Martin, who wrote the script, wrote the story. Yeah. And that really surprised me. You know, he created Z-Cars in the early 60s. Then in the mid 70s, he went on to, after this, obviously, he went on to create the Sweeney. He was the lead writer on that for a number of years, and lots of films, lots and lots of TV. And you know, the British. I mean, I suppose you could say that some of this survives in the Sweeney, doesn't it? Because although that is a pretty straight show and it's very hard hitting and very violent, it's still got that Britishness. It's got a slight tongue-in-cheek quality, and you could say that John Thor's Regan owes a certain amount to Croker. He's a hard, you know, even though he's on the right side of the law, he's a very hard character to nail down. He's got a girl in every, well, maybe not port, but probably every motorway service junction. I don't know.
It's a great movie. You've
actually picked another movie that we can all universally.
I know.
Yeah, what does that mean for the next one?
No. I think I got one. When we normally get a good choice, we end up getting a shit choice the next week.
It'll be Gravity versus Pacific Rim.
Gravity.
Do you guys remember?
Back in again? No, you're doing this thing again.
I have 2 new movies. I'm intrigued to see which way you.
Do you guys remember the scene where he had to talk to everybody? There was in the boardroom, and he had his gang in the boardroom.
Yes.
I find that scene so funny when he goes, "We're going to work as a team," which means you do exactly what I say.
Yes.
That's
so funny.
Like they really needed him. So basically in the plot, the Michael Caine then gets kind of like cartoon beaten up by a couple of heavies for breaking in. Yeah, but Noel Carter's, I don't want him killed. Just give him a good going over. And then they decide they want to back the plan. They like the plan. And so then we got this wonderful section of them setting up. So one of my favorite scenes is this scene where they go into troop Benny Hill
from
Irene Handel. It's the scene is pure magic.
It's gold.
When you're trying to work out what on earth that Benny Hill's character did, Professor.
And isn't it nice to see not just Benny Hill again, but particularly Irene Handel?
Yeah.
She was a massively popular actress, wasn't she? Lots and lots of sitcoms.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
But there was a lot of British faces in that film, wasn't there, Dan?
Hell of a lot.
Henry McGee. Henry McGee.
Somebody mentioned problem. Did you mention the guy from Dad's Army? Problem being there's a guy from
Harry Seacombe.
Harry Seacombe in this? I think I spotted Von Smallhausen from Hello Hello was also in this.
Yes, he was in it.
Working on the computer in the computer section in Turin.
And also the high karate aftershave girl was in it as well. I don't know if you remember that.
A lot of insanely attractive women in this.
Yeah.
There were a lot of insanely attractive women in this. I wanted to go.
Not the Benny Hill targets.
No.
That was fascinating. That
was hilarious.
It's easy to forget.
The scene where he's in Italy when he's chasing that woman on the bus. It's all fast forward, it's all sped up, but it's just so
I just love the way it's written because it's very British, and I like the stuff where I can't go in the back, Charlie. I've got a migraine, and he's like, "Well, you shut up, you go in the back."
And again, his like commanding of the troops is so insanely entertaining. So they put together a ragtag band of to pull off this crime caper. Benny Hill being a Professor Peach, an integral member. This is a very, very forward-thinking move as well. They're essentially hacking the computer system to cause the traffic jam, to give them the ability to get. And this is in '69, so this is very, very, again, very, very forward-thinking. And so they needed this Professor Peach. Professor Peach has an interesting predilection, which I think is really displayed here. This is really his downfall. When he and this is the way they actually talk him into recruiting him. Michael Caine says, "Professor Peach, go out to my car, would you? Go and look out at my car." And there's these two
That's so funny.
very, very healthily portioned young women, older women. What was the name of the servant?
Annette, was it Annette?
Yeah. We found him doing it with Annette.
Annette.
Actually, you think it's the cat. You actually think at one point, because then you look at Michael Caine looks at the cat like, "Is this Annette?"
It's funny because Benny Hill's name comes after Michael Caine in the credits. Because he must have been huge in those days.
He was a massive star in all the way through from '65 through to '72.
Big draw in America as well, I think.
So after he retired, he was a big draw in America.
It's always amazed me that Morecambe Wise didn't have more of a movie career.
They didn't want it. They got offered. Yeah, they got off. CBS offered them a whole series, and they just turned them down. And I think Eric Morecambe was saying it'd be crazy to say garbage instead of rubbish. Do you know what I mean? So, and he said, no, we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. So there you go.
Salt the earth.
Yeah. They made 3 movies, didn't they? And I think that they were sort of within touching distance of being part of that sort of cool British wave, but it just fell short of it really when films like this sort of took off. And Benny Hill was never sort of in
Two Ronnies were better than them anyway. Sorry.
Bold statement there. It's a bold statement.
Don't care. I'll stick by it.
I find it hilarious how they had so many. They had like all these working class people, and some of them were trying to put on, upper class accents. Like the guy with the blonde hair was like, "Oh, sorry, Charlie." He was like one of the guys that drove one of the mini. I can't remember what he was wearing, white with a red stripe.
Yeah, they were all
posh, like a really posh.
The
posh
3
accent.
They were
yum.
So
but it's very British humor, right? It's very, very British humor, isn't it?
It's very British humor, but again, the pacing is spot on because they're building up nicely. So now they get the group together. Then it starts to ratchet up the tension as they get closer and closer to doing the actual job. They bring in the mafia as a secondary villain. actually a primary villain, I think, to take over from the police, who are clearly, easily defeated. And so they're up against the police and all that stuff, and the
mafia. But what about that film? The bit where they're watching the film, and Noel Cowell spots the head of the mafia. He's right in front of the lens. What, that guy video?
Right?
Did you see him? I just thought that was just mad. But that's the type of film it was, right? That was the type of film it was. So that's why I find this film funny.
Yeah, this was the precursor to Monty Python, so it's got that kind of absurdist quality to it that was quite in vogue at the time. Yeah.
And I just want to point out the costumes as well. Everybody just looks fantastic. Everybody's wearing the best clothes.
Well, it was that era, wasn't it? They wore the best clothes, I think. Same with the 30s and 40s era, and the 20s, 30s and 40s as well. I think the clothing was absolutely fantastic as well. People knew how to dress.
Absolutely.
They certainly did in this movie.
Well,
this is a fun movie.
Against our prison is his tailor.
Yeah. This is a fun movie. I mean, like, the pacing on this movie, as someone said earlier, absolutely spot on. I mean, this movie got so many things right that I don't think it actually got really right. I mean, I don't really have any complaints about this movie.
It's nearly a perfect movie. It really is nearly a perfect movie.
Yeah. It's lean, it's fun, it's fast, and it's so entertaining.
I mean, it started before you know it, it's kind of finished, isn't it, Lee? It's like you're watching it because it flies by, but
it's only an hour and a half long, isn't it?
By to say, well, what the hell did I just watch? And you don't retain any information. With this one, you do, because, as you said, every person that's in it, the supporting cast too, are absolutely fantastic. I have no complaints about this movie, which makes me scared for next week, because I mean,
again, I think we've got choices that you're going to find appropriate.
But if every one of the
we get to talk about the best bit of the movie.
Every one of the supporting cast, right? That you didn't get to know them, but you felt like you knew them. Do you know what I mean? Especially this guy here.
They stretch them out really, really quickly.
Yeah, they do.
It's like that's the Bush guy.
Well, they all shine in their own way. That's the thing.
Right.
You don't need to be a big part for that.
You know what I think it was? I think every character had something that everybody could actually relate to.
They all had a job to do. They all had a specific job.
Had some character trait that you could say, "Oh yeah, I know someone like that." It appeals. So I think that's why. See, it works when it's done properly. Even if they don't get too much development, there's little character traits that they put in, and you can buy it. And this was done perfectly.
Well, Russell T Davies does that as well. We've been watching, his Doctor Who over the last few months, right? Every week. Mm-hmm. And he does that as well. He sketches out his characters. Like, you don't know how you know them so well, so quickly, with such little information.
I have to say, I really love the scene where he's doing the posh Lord accent, and he's like getting his car back.
I love that. Yeah.
That was all ad-libbed. Which you
really, you could tell. You could tell. They were having so much fun.
Yeah, they were.
It's a £50 bounty.
Was that when he introduces one of them at the table and he says, "This guy just came out of Parkhurst. He's as honest as the day is long." He just came out of Parkhurst. It's so funny.
Brilliant.
But a lot of people miss that. When they watch it, they just see Michael Caine. But if you listen very carefully, the jokes are
that line jumped out.
Yeah. That's why I like this film so much, because it has so much hidden depth. That on the surface you just think it's they're just mucking around. But if you listen very carefully, the jokes are very spot on.
It's intelligent. It's really intelligent and really sharp. Really sharp. They're all on the top game, and they're clearly all enjoying themselves immensely. And that's what brings the joy to the screen.
Yeah, it is a great movie, in my opinion. But as I said, what more can you say about a film that's really enjoyable? There's in 3 acts, isn't it? He comes out of jail, he gets his gang, they plan it, then they execute it. Do you know what I mean? It's very economical. Just 3 acts, and that's it. And the last act belongs to the minis, doesn't it? The stunts that they do.
got a character of their own, you know.
Yeah, the minis with that song, self-present, you know, that soundtrack. Again, that's basically the last 20 minutes of the movie, and it's freaking. It gives you such an incredible, you know, thrill roller coaster ride. It's fantastic.
I mean, this is
choreographed. It's like a ballet.
But there was one scene they cut out of it, basically, when they go through this area where people are doing playing music, and the car's meant to dance to the music, but they thought it broke up the action too much, so they took it out. But yeah, I mean, they had some really great scenes that they took out with the cars and stuff because they thought it slowed things down. But as I said,
Director's cut, please.
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? It's a very well-made movie, and it was, if you, because there's the making of on the DVD. If you watch that, you'll realize. I mean, this movie, it took a miracle to make this movie. Literally, people were helping them, but they had so many problems. As I said, the best films are the films that had a hard time being made. Do you know what I mean? And this is no exception. This is a great movie, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
When they say nowadays, you know, like you hear people say, "Oh, it's been a troubled production; it's doomed to failure." We see that talked about films all the time. Because in some ways, I don't know how you guys feel about it. Because you know, we commentate on this stuff. We put out content about a lot of it. We contribute. We contribute to the problem, don't we? In many respects. But that mystique of us not really knowing the ins and outs, and there wasn't a paparazzi or a fan looking to stream a video through their phone to YouTube at every location shoot. And if there were problems putting together some of the most famous films of all time, the nearest, the closest.
What was that last Marlon Brando movie that was?
Dr. Moreau.
That was set by problems.
That was the troubleshoot. Okay, we can agree that was the troubleshoot.
But that was down to Val Kilmer allegedly.
Do you know
being
outrageous? Do you know the stunt where the two minis jump over from roof to roof? Well, they basically the producer had a car ready to drive him to the airport so that he can leave the country, because if that stunt went wrong, he was in trouble. He was in jail. And he literally had a ticket. He had a car waiting for him if that stunt went wrong, to jump into the car, get into the plane, and leave the country. Because if he's going to be pursued by the law because that stunt went wrong, he'd rather do it from England than Italy. And that's a true story. That's a true story. He had a car waiting.
Imagine if it happened. How legendary that was.
Yeah.
How fitting with the actual film, really.
Yeah.
It was an incredible stunt. I had wondered, Ian, if they had actually done that or not. So
no, they did it. They did it, and all those cars was Turin gave them all those cars to have the traffic jam and stuff, and they caused real traffic jams for certain shots. So you know, as I said, it's a miracle that they made this film.
If we're ever going to talk about a trouble production, we've got to watch Apocalypse Now, which is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. That's the trouble of all trouble films. That one.
There was a 180-day shoot or something. Yeah. It went crazy.
Yeah. No,
they described that as much like Vietnam. There was too many of them. They had too much stuff, too much money, and one by one, they all went insane. And I said in that movie, freaking love Apocalypse Now. Anyway, so but yeah, this is a very far cry from Apocalypse Now. So they get the money. They do the heist. Benny Hill gets locked up in jail for filling up a larger Italian woman.
It does,
Speed.
It's so funny.
Totally Benny.
Where we have this 20-minute incredible chase. Well, not really chase, more
chase. Here. Do you know what my favorite scene is? My favorite scene is where they're stuck in a traffic jam, right? And one of the lads is in the car, right? And there's this woman in the opposite car. And he starts feeling her face, and then she just smacks him across the face.
Well,
I said, that's it. It was
as I mentioned too.
Dialogue in that. There was no dialogue in that. It was just, and that whole scene, there's not much dialogue in it, but it's absolute. It was funny. I thought that was just funny. It was the one thing. I was just, there he is thinking, oh yeah, she's buying it, like she because she gives him a little smile, and then next of all you just see bang across the face,
across the line.
Well, and the other thing too I was mentioning before was I love the altar boys playing dice in the back,
right?
The traffic jam.
And smoking.
and smoking.
I didn't see that part.
Funny. You know what makes it great is they put all this incredible humor, and it's incredible humor that really lands and really works in the midst of like genuine tension, action, and excitement. It just like it's such a wonderful this
is how famous this film is. When I was obviously I used to read Tank Girl, the comic Tank Girl, and they had a story called The Australian Job. And in the panels, they wrote lines from the Italian Job. If you look closely, they had lines. One line said, "Put your foot down, Tony. They're getting rather close." Do you remember that line in the film?
Yeah.
So they wrote all these lines from the Italian Job in the comic. That's how famous this film is. That's how much it's in our culture.
And I really did. I love they have Michael Caine in one of these cars at the end, and that he's barking directions all the way through it, and you can relate to him all the way through.
Did you notice how we went straight past without even mentioning when they were testing the cars and seeing, and testing all the blowing the doors off, and we totally went past that bit, but you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
We got out of the way.
But again, it's wonderful comic tension. I think and this to me is kind of similar to that scene in Pulp Fiction we saw a couple of weeks ago when they're about to plunge the needle into Uma Thurman's heart, and you go 1, 2, and they wrap up the tension like 1, 5. They count down, and then it blows up the van. And Noel Cowell's getting very upset because they keep blowing up.
Wasn't that a great scene? Well, where he said, "We have to arrange a funeral." Just to get that meeting. What a terrific idea!
And I love the little speech note Noel Cowell gives to the do this right. And and I like how he was. I liked his weird nationalism, and he loves the Queen. He sells cover pictures of the Queen.
Silver service.
Who was Dan? Who was the guy that was in charge of the jail? He was in Dad's Army. What was his name?
John Lemire.
The actor's name, John. He was, Captain Wilson, Sergeant Wilson in Dad's Army.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
And he hardly had a line in this, but that was his gift. That was John Lemire is one of my favourite actors of all time, and he'd talk about the making of Dad's Army quite a lot, and it's been quite well documented that sometimes if Arthur Lowe was doing his bit, John Lemire was just a foot away. He wouldn't have a word of dialogue, but all he would do, he'd have a line coming up, and all he would do is he'd look at the camera or look slightly left of the camera and just put his finger over his brow like that, as if to say, "Wait for it, wait for it." And he was doing all of that in this as well, looking exasperated and mildly put out by what was going on. And he's just a wonderful actor, a lightness of touch. And we do see this in some character actors now, but so rarely. I think because scripts don't give them the room to do that anymore. I don't know why that is.
Because attention span, isn't it?
I think scripts are always trying to show off, and they're not trying to do the job. This is show off is doing its job. Right.
It's because of attention span. A lot of people say that people don't have the attention span. I mean, I'm old school. I could watch a film like this. I mean, literally, it takes about, I think, over 30 minutes for the film to actually get going. But everything within that 30 minutes is very enjoyable to me. But to today's generation, they'll watch that. They'll get bored. Within 5 minutes, they'll get bored.
All my kids have loved this. I think this, if there's a movie,
you've got nice kids.
Yeah, it's my kids. My kids like this. Although, again, my daughter. Okay, this is a bit of an aside. My daughter's really pissed off because they changed her job in the army. She was doing this like counselor at schools, and so she had this really cushy gig. They have an apartment. She had a double bed. It was all good. They're moving onto a base to investigate pandemic cases, right? But now she's on an army base, and she's all pissed off she's being moved, and so she has to get new stuff for it. She was just put on this like pink robe, this pink toweling robe, and which is basically what she's going to be walking around base wearing. She wouldn't let me take a picture of her. It's hilarious. I don't know how we got onto that. But basically, they get away. They get the gold, and they're.
Can we just say about the actual chase scenes, like the scenes in the tunnel, beautifully shot. I love that. And the scene where they're on that parabolic roof and they split off into three, and the police doesn't know where to go, so he just sits in the middle, and they just come out of nowhere, and he has to try. I love all that. It's
the stunt guy wanted to do a 360 in the tunnel, but he couldn't do it. He tried it and it crashed.
You see him trying it.
Yeah, you see in the film, you actually see he was just about to do it, but he couldn't make it as he was going in the tunnel.
Shame.
But he said that was one of the things that he got disappointed with. He really wanted to do it, but they couldn't in the end. So
that would have been amazing. It still looked incredible. I love that bit.
Yeah. I can see it totally being possible. Like I said, when I driving a Mini Cooper, the way it used to stick to the roads, I can completely imagine them being able to do that.
Yeah, and they only had 2 days to do it because they were going to shut that thing they were driving in, because they've just built it, so they allowed them to drive through it. And they were going to shut it. They were going to close it. So they had 2 days to do it. But yeah, I mean, that's just seriously the things they had to put up with this film. It's incredible. And it turned out to be really good.
But they put it off, and it was fantastic. So anyway, they get away. They're driving. What's the name of the driver? Was it Big Tony? Big something or other?
Tony. Oh, yeah. Tony's one of the cars. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's driving that. And by the way, I do like that bit just at the end.
Big Tony for obvious reasons.
Yeah. That's what he said, isn't it?
There's this when Michael Caine goes into the front of the bus with Tony driving, and there's this back projection they project on.
Oh yeah.
You said, and look, and it just gives that feeling of motion, and it's really, really cool. I just love that. It was very clever.
You know, they destroyed the Aston Martin. Where with the
I love that as well. Yeah,
they made a mistake, and one of the props guy overnight had to find another car that looks like the Aston Martin, and they found one with a black hood. And so when you see it being tipped over, it's not Aston Martin. If you look closely, it's a different car. Sorry to fill you with all this information, but
they ruined the top of that car, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They ruined a lot of cars in this movie. That was
heartbreaking.
Majority of the budget, probably. Like the Reservoir Dogs, the majority of the budget was blood. It's got the majority. So they're driving away, and it goes awry, and we have the ultimate cliffhanger. That it goes to. So just let's talk about the overview of the movie. Fantastic opening, fantastic fun opening. We set up the characters. The great middle act where they go and put everything together. Still incredibly fun. Real tense third act where they do the caper. They get away. Then you get this little this coda
cliffhanger.
It's awesome. This knocks it out the park. Like I don't think any. I mean, I wish they did more. But I can see that this is just a wonderful, wonderful ending.
This scene spawned 1,000 million different fan theories and videos on YouTube about how they could have retrieved the gold, and it's been a fascinating.
The producer came up with the idea. They didn't have an ending for the film, so when they were flying over, he came up with the idea. He was on the plane, he came up with that idea. But the studio hated it. They hated the ending. The American studio hated it.
That ending is sheer brilliance. It is.
I'd like to know, what was the driver smoking? He was getting high, which is why he was trying so bad.
That was clearly the case.
I just have to say that when I was a kid, I went on holiday with my gran, and we went on this tour around Barcelona, and we were staying in this small village town, and we had to this drive around these sheer drop cliffs. And we were on this bus called the Okie Dokie bus. And it was nerve-wracking. I was sat on the passenger side by the window looking down this ravine drop, and he was just bombing it around these corners. It was just like in the film. Oh my god, it was not nerve-wracking.
I'm glad you survived.
Just about. But
it's amazing to me that the James Bond movie just spawned another and kept going, and this didn't. This seems to be like you could keep going on with these forever.
It did make me think about the sequel.
With Bond, you'd got proof of concept, or whatever you want to call it, with that string of successful novels, I suppose. Whereas with this, it was all original. This wasn't a book first or anything like that, was it? From what I believe, it's all original screenplay from Troy Kennedy Martin. So I can see it certainly could have had legs. In fact, I would have no objections to them going back and forget about the other film under this name. That's a topic for another time. But I can see another film maybe set in 1970. Somebody else's Croker. Pick up the story. Find somebody. Make a period movie and pick up the story. It doesn't have to.
But who could you cast a star on this?
Oh, don't ask me. I don't bloody know.
Jason Statham.
There'll be somebody out there. But it'd have to have that 1970s.
What's the name? What's it? The Joel Egerton, whatever his name is.
Him. Yeah, he starts
from Kingsman.
Good actor, very dependable.
But the thing is, in the 60s, this cast, they were working class people. Michael Caine obviously is from working class, but today's actors, they're all middle class, upper class, aren't they? Yeah. So
but again, I think the closest the closest thing to this thing would be what's the name? The gentleman. What's his name? Guy Ritchie. Which is breaks my heart didn't work. That was really trying to do what this does, and just didn't do it well.
That's because it wasn't real. It doesn't feel authentic because it's not. I mean, Guy Ritchie, he went to Oxford. Do you know what I mean? He's not working class. He's trying to portray working class the way he thinks working class is. But these people are real McCoy. Do you know what I mean? That's why this works so well. So anyway, that's just my thoughts.
Listen, you're making a good point. You are making a good point. So okay. So again, we're at the cliffhanger, and he's like, "Everybody back up! Everybody get out! We'll all go over." Okay. So wait a minute, I got a brilliant idea, and then they pull back. Fantastic movie. Fine. So I think let's go. I think we've done the movie. Is there anything else? Anything anybody wants to add? But we'll go around and score it.
I'd like to just mention the only modern film I've seen recently that made me feel kind of like this, and you were just talking about other people who could play this kind of role, was the Christian Bale in Le Mans 60, whatever that was. In that movie, I thought that had a similar feel to this.
Ford versus Ferrari.
That's it, Ford versus Ferrari. So, I think you can sort of recapture that. I mean, obviously, it would be an exercise in nostalgia. Now a period piece where it's Hobbit time there. But so I think it is possible to sort of to touch the hem of greatness with a degree of taste, with measured, with people who understand and feel it, and who were around at the time. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, loosen the arms. I'm not a gorilla. Remember that line?
Yeah.
When he used to get all those shirts.
Wonderful.
My God, those shirts were awful. But as I said, that stuff always makes me laugh because I'm a lot older than I look. But I remember a bit of the 60s. I remember a lot of the 70s. But I mean, that's the way. I mean, look at the suits. They were amazing.
Oh,
they were.
Yeah, I like Maggie. I'm a lot younger than
quality, class, crisp
very bad lines.
And he had a very svelte look about him. He really pulled that off.
Yeah.
Fine. Let's go around the panel. No, what would you give out of 10 for this movie?
I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fair.
I enjoyed the movie.
Problem being, what's your score?
I never ever do this. But I will in this case because it is so head and shoulders above everything else. It's 10.
A 10. There you go.
Wow.
It's a perfect film.
Bold statement. Mega Geek, what would you give it?
9. Definitely a 9. It's almost there, but it's a great movie in my opinion.
Father Miller, what would you give it?
I give it a 10. Like I said,
we're loving
the first DVDs I bought.
There you go. And Dan, what would your score be?
I'm just thinking my rule of thumb with this is, can I, because it's so tempting to go for the 10, and I'm trying to think if I can think of any ways in which this film could have been better. That's what normally, if I can't, then I'll give it a 10. And maybe I'll be able to in a couple of days. I cannot think of a single way in which this film could have been better. I have to give it a 10. I just have to.
Yeah, okay. I can't argue with that. I will give it like a 9.5 because I can imagine something being better, but I just don't know how. But yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up there.
But even if it was better, it's. I don't think it would actually change it in any way, particularly. You know, I mean, yeah, they could have done the 360 in the tunnel, but hey. 10 out of 10 for trying. Anyway.
Are you ready for the first choice of the movie for next week? What we do every week, I give the panel two movies to choose. Are you ready?
Ready as will ever be.
Okay, gird yourself. This is choice number 1. It can't get worse than that.
Great movie.
Oh, I can't believe you're after doing that to me. Which version? Which version?
Oh, well, we'll talk about that. I don't know. I guess the.
No, I need to know which version. Are we doing the extended cut or are we doing the original cut?
The extended cut is much better, isn't it? Well, whatever the panel wants for that. I have no massive.
Extended cut is much better, actually.
I do tend to find extended cut. And behind door number 2, I really want to see which way you guys are going to go with this. We have this.
Oh God!
Right. Well, I've already made up my mind. Get that off the screen, will you, please? Get it off. Serious, man. Put the other picture back. Don't do that. That's not an alien movie. That's a disgrace.
Aliens?
That's a disgrace. Don't even put that.
It's interesting, Rabbi, how you went for aliens rather than alien.
No.
Yeah.
Aliens. That was going to be my yeah.
He went for the more action-based one, didn't he? Ian?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did. Yeah.
And also, I haven't seen it. Aliens, I legitimately is the one I've seen least over the last couple of decades. I haven't gone back for a long time.
That's interesting.
Alien is a great movie. The Force, like the extended cut of that Force movie, is absolutely brilliant.
I'll have to tell you, that's one of the few video games I played is Alien Isolation. And that's the most terrifying game I've ever played. They're supposed to be our version of it. I'm glad they didn't. You spent most of that game hiding in closets. And you do. It's freaking terrifying. They really nailed that. They said
it's not my choice. So I don't even have to tell you it's my choice. So
okay, Alien. Problem being, what's your choice?
I've never seen Covenant.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, pretty good. I liked it.
I haven't seen it. I fell asleep almost when I watched Prometheus, so I wasn't very impressed. But I haven't seen it, and I've seen Aliens lots of times. I can't do it to Noel, so I'm going to
go. Listen. I'll be fair. Right? If you haven't seen it, vote for it, because if you haven't seen, that's the whole point of it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, no, but
some people.
I wasn't impressed with. I don't know. I'll see what the others say. If I have a deciding vote, then
we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. Dan, what's your choice?
Oh no, I knew you'd come to me next. I haven't got a problem with either of these films. Aliens is a stone cold classic. That's
right. So basically, the question is, what do you think you're going to be more in the mood to watch this week? Alien or Alien Covenant?
What does the audience? Let's see what the chat thinks. That'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, chat. You let us know as well.
I think. I'd like to see Covenant again. I have to say, I have seen it.
I'm voting Covenant as well. Right? My vote's on Covenant.
Oh, God,
do you want to vote for Alien? I can't do it tonight. Father Miller, what's your vote?
I've never seen either.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I've never seen either.
Well,
I'm going to go with Aliens.
Yeah, if you never seen it.
What happens if it's a draw? Because it's going to be a draw now. Do we let the chat decide?
Maybe.
I haven't said anything yet.
If he does go with Alien, it's a draw. Oh, no, Ian hasn't voted yet.
Well, that's what Ian has to say.
Sorry, Ian.
It's all right.
Ian.
I don't even know where we are now. Like,
2 for Aliens. You're still on the fence.
I'm going to go for Aliens.
Okay, 3 Covenant, 2 Alien. So, problem being, you can make this into a tie, making it confusing, or you can make it a slam dunk. It's your choice.
I tell you what, seems that it is going live, right? why not give the deciding vote to Covenant and let the chat decide what we do? Then that way, then it's fair. Then we can't complain.
And then let's see what the chat says.
Yeah, let's see what the chat says.
Well, wait, that's cool. Which
Although I feel bad if Father Miller has
the one with Pierce Bronson or the original one, because I like the Pierce Bronson one.
Brosnan.
Yeah, so do I.
Bronson, yeah.
Bronson. I just feel a bit bad if Father Miller hasn't seen Aliens. I think that would be a bit weird to go to cover.
Seen Alien.
Honestly, I think for Father Miller we should do Aliens because you're going to be. Covenant is a sequel to a kind of muddy, confused movie, which I kind of like. Which I think Covenant's better than Aliens, than Prometheus. Yeah, okay. I think Aliens. I think we're going.
We can always come back to Covenant another time anyway. If it does pop up again, like Gravity did, and Pacific Rim, I think came up 3 times.
Oh, maybe one week will be Alien Covenant.
Have you seen Alien? Have you seen Alien, Father Christopher?
No, I said I haven't seen either one.
Oh, well, then he should watch the first movie before we show him when we do that movies.
Alien and Aliens are very, very separate movies. They're very different.
No, well, it's a sequel. Aliens is a sequel.
Yeah, but you can't do that to him. He's right. It's the sequel. She's floating.
I think Aliens can be viewed as a standalone. You can always go.
Aliens can totally be viewed as a standalone, and it's
No,
very
it
different.
can't. Because it can't. You can't stand it.
I'll try to find Aliens.
You have to know the history of the first film.
Definitely wrong on that.
Aliens.
Definitely wrong.
I think
Listen, okay, I'll give you
do that as a prequel.
I'll throw another choice out there for you. It's Alien Covenant, Aliens, or Pacific Rim.
No!
He puts the movie in that he knows we don't want to watch.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. You're correct. I had to do that on purpose. Yeah, I'll add Gravity into the mix as well. Do you want Gravity?
Nah. Well, listen, Father. I think you should just watch Alien first, and then if it is Aliens, then watch Alien first, and then watch Alien.
I will.
This is what I'll do. I'll add Alien and Aliens to my server, so you can access it with
Right,
and
that's fair.
then you can watch it totally alone.
I was just seeing if it's on Amazon.
I just have to point out that Dr. Scott 2 in the chat is like, no!
Yeah, it's not on Amazon.
Fine, no problem. I'll upload it for you. It's
Great.
They're good movies. They're pretty darn good movies. So there you go. So first time we've moved to Wednesday. This has gone quite well. And come back tomorrow. No, it's up to you. What time do you want to start tomorrow night?
Well, what time did you say? Sorry. What time do you want to start that?
Listen, I can. Well, Dan as well. It's up to you. Like I can start at 5 if you want. I can start at 5:30. I can start at 6. It's up to you. I can start at 7.
I'll let Dan decide because Dan probably busy and because of me, I'm not working at the moment or anything. So just in case Dan has a few bits and pieces to do.
So are we looking to do this live? We're looking to do the quiz. So you doing the comic book improv first, or are we going straight into the quiz at 5?
I don't know. Right now, I only have one guest for comic book improv. So it's going to be quicker.
So we might be just doing the quiz
I could do with as much time between now and then as possible. I am quite busy at the moment, but I do want to do it. I can pull it together, but if we can push it till as late as possible, that would really help me out.
Should we start at 6?
I could do 6.
I mean, listen, I tell you what.
7
It's tough, but if you want, I could do 8 to 10, and then I could probably get more people in on the comic book one. Would you want to do 8 to 10, and then we could do the what's the name? The on Noel's channel. You can do the Comic Con stream first.
So
we're not on stream first though, because that's the whole point. We have to be there live when that thing happens.
Yeah, then that drops.
This is the plan. 6:40 tomorrow night. We'll be on. If you have me on, Noel's going to be on his channel.
Of course, I'm bringing you on. I told you.
It's your channel, man. I'm not going to make decisions for you.
We said a few weeks ago. We've already got the panel for that, and I said if anybody else wanted to join, you were more than welcome. Of course, you're always on.
So Dan,
the channel tomorrow night.
At 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
If everybody can manage that, if that's not too late for you, Rabbi.
That's fine. Yeah, I have to push a little bit. Fine. I'll be able to get more people for the comic book one. Fine.
So we're on my channel first, and then we're swapping over to your channel.
Rabbi, if you can't find anyone to do
a teammate for your for Geek Lord Overmind.
Yeah, I'll let Dan know tonight who my teammate is, just in case. We're still sticking with Team Torchwood. Actually, just stick to the same name.
Oh yeah, we're still the Elders of Zion.
Rabbi. If you can't find anyone for the comic book stuff, don't forget there is a wealth of other people who can do it as well. I'm not putting myself forward necessarily, but I'm just saying if you need backup, don't worry about it.
Maybe you can get Adam as well, actually, because he does Doctor Who stuff. Why don't you see?
But look, if we move into later, I know I can get a lot of these Comicsgate UK guys after 9. I can get them after 9. So if we do the comic improv at 9, we do the Geek Lord Overmind at 8. I think we're good.
There you go.
Right. So there's
always a backup.
So we're going on my channel first to do the Comic-Con event live. After that, then we go on to your channel to do the 2 shows, yes?
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Right. Why not? Right.
We just got to remember not to blow the bloody doors off.
So yes,
listen, don't forget to join us all tomorrow for that Comic-Con extravaganza.
Yes, I'll be there. I'll come and suffer the misery with you.
I'll set it up tonight and I'll send you through what Rabbi does. I'll set it up tonight and I'll send you the email to the link for and then just join when you are available.
I can't wait for this. I really can't.
I know. It's going to be interesting. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I am going to be streaming probably an hour after I finish here. Could be a little bit less, so you'll want to tune into that because I've got plenty to say.
Okay. Yes. So fine. I think we've done the Italian Job. We like the Italian Job. If you haven't seen the Italian Job, go and see the Italian Job. Freaking awesome.
I'd admit, go and see the Italian Job. You want a fun movie and a movie that keeps you interested, no bull crap, proper old-fashioned fun dialogue, great dialogue, and a terrific car chase. Man, these Mini Coopers and everything end up on roofs and buildings. Go down stairs and everything, upstairs, you name it. It's brilliant. Very well done. Very well choreographed. I recommend this movie. This is a movie.
It's close to perfect as you can get.
I really enjoyed because Rabbi picked a good one.
I was going to say, it's also streaming. It's streaming for free on Tubi.
Right.
TUBI is the name of the streaming service. It's free.
Yeah, but
Go to Tubi.com, everyone. Fine, everybody. Thank you to the chat. Was it Bakru Baizai? No, it's not the Bak one version. Yes, we're doing comic book improv later. We'll do it after. We're doing it at 9 tomorrow. We start at 8 with Geek Lord Overmind. Dr. Scott, how you doing? Vanessa Laura, I think I said hello to you. If I didn't, I apologize. Mark Reserve, I don't think I've seen you in my chat before. Hello, nice to meet you. I think that's it. I think we're right. Fine. So now streaming. I was going to say I'm going to click the end broadcast button and stream out. I'm going to say, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to do that? You want to stream a bit longer? No, I'm pretty sure. Stream.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, because I don't like being asked. Am I sure? You know, although I have to tell you. I'm going to give you a quick little story before I leave. When I went to see Iron Man in the cinema, there was. I was in my local cinema, and I could hear the office in the cinema next to it. The computer had some kind of like thing going off. Went off like every 5 minutes. Really annoyed me. I was there with my family. I was the only one that annoyed. And I said, "Look, I'm here. I paid for 6 tickets. I only want a refund for 1. Right? You had this going off. I only want a refund for 1." She said. So the manager says, "No. You're not getting a refund." And I go to that cinema all the freaking time until they open a better one, like across the street. And I said, "No, you're not getting a refund." So I said to her, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes, I'm sure." I said, Are you sure? She said, yes, I'm sure. Suffice to say, it was about 2 weeks later that she phoned me to grovelingly apologize. Well, firstly, I kept posting stuff on their social media saying, this is the damn road, like putting it down. Yeah, because they didn't really, this was before social media was really a thing. They didn't realize people could do this. And I had my daughter translate it into Hebrew. It was like, but it didn't look bad, right? The first they phoned me up and said, "Why can you why are you doing this? Like, can you stop doing this?" I said, "Well, give me a refund, I will." They said, "Well, we're not going to give you a refund." So I said to them, I was actually just watching a movie as you phoned me to watch this. Is it you just don't like me watching movies? Is it that? So eventually I said, listen, just give me some. Give me a cup of Coke. I'll shut up. Just give me something. The Israelis can never acknowledge they'd ever done anything wrong. Never. They were, in fact, they were all. The worst thing an Israeli can do is the fryer. They hate being a fryer. They will all drive around for about 45 minutes to try and find a parking spot on the first level of the parking lot. They'll never drive down to the second level, which is freaking empty because no Israeli can ever admit they're wrong. One time we had a guy in to fix our air conditioning, clean it, and it was dripping water after it was done. I said, it wasn't dripping water beforehand. He's like, well, it's just one of the things. And he's like, I'll tell you what, I will pay you double if you admit that you did it. I will pay. Would not admit it. That's for you. So there you go. So yeah, eventually she which was a sign of a complete submission in Israel. She admitted I was right. They gave me a free ticket. Leave me alone. So there you go. That's the last time I asked Rabbi, are you sure? So there you go. So I don't like being asked if I'm sure because I always am sure. So there you go. Am I sure? Yes, I'm sure. I'm going to click the M broadcast button and I'm going to get the